Atelier Ryza developer clarifies its stance on video game censorship. And it almost looks good just with the title and the tagline there. I understand the desire to play the game as the creator intended. So at least they understand, but what are they going to do about it? Censorship in Japanese video games coming to the West is certainly nothing new. You know what is new, though? The West forcing Japanese video games to be censored for Japan. Because that's something that this dude, who's he? Gavin Lane at Nintendo Life forgot to mention. And instances of developers altering content to work in certain markets or on certain platforms are still relatively common these days. And I will admit this used to be a lot worse. But still, any censorship is inexcusable. Soini, in particular, often comes in for criticism for obscuring any cheekiness it doesn't want on PlayStation. Yeah, meanwhile, you can have a full-blown underage sex scene in Life is Strange 2 Episode 2. That's perfectly fine. You can have a tranny sex scene in The Last of Us Part 2. That's fine. But an anime girl showing too much skin? Not on our watch. Not on our family-friendly platform. Nintendo has been more lenient in many cases, though it does get involved with policing certain content on occasion. Yeah, usually when Nintendo gets involved, it's for first-party games. So in an interview with Nintendo Life, Junzo Hosoi, the brand manager at developer GUST and producer on upcoming RPG Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy, has spoken about the team's approach and opinion concerning censorship in the West. And here's where it gets interesting. And this... If I wouldn't have already given up on GUST after the fairy tale debacle, this would have hurt, because this would have been what makes me give up on GUST. In contrast to some developers who have felt increasingly restricted in this area, Hosoi doesn't necessarily see it as a negative. So he's completely cucked. Asked how the developer felt about alterations in other markets and other platforms, Hosoi has this to say. The GUST team do not see the need to edit a title for another culture or country as something necessarily bad. We do not have any bad or negative opinions, particularly on this. Each country has their own unique culture, and it really depends on what type of story the director, producer, and creator wants to infuse into the title. Sometimes it might not work for every culture. Now, this is bullshit cucking out. No government on the planet should have the right to censor what fiction its people consume. Each individual consumer has the choice to make. Oh, do I like this? Yes, I'll spend money on it. No, I won't. It's that fucking simple. And these guys are cucking out like 100%. And here's the part where it gets even scarier. In the case of Ryza 2, the title we put together does not need to be censored for any market, and many people around the world can enjoy it as it was intended. So what this translates to is they have already censored it down to PlayStation's level. It is already censored down to the lowest common denominator. They don't need to worry about it. They've already considered it. They've looked into what would need to be censored, and they have already taken care of that. You guys remember that I did that video years ago, before this Soini shit even came out, about how I'm concerned that these NPCs are going to start censoring games at the source in Japan? Well, fuck you, I was right again. Everyone who doubted me, I'll not hold my breath for your apologies. So, of course, as a player, I understand the desire to play the game as the creator intended. Oh, so as a player, you must also understand that a lot of us fellow players are no longer going to support censorship. Now, I am completely done with Koei Tecmo and GUST now after what you pulled with Fairy Tail, promising no censorship for months. And then day one censorship patch. You going to play that shit? Yeah, at this point, I don't think I'll ever pick up another Atelier game. I think I'm just done. The GUST team's opinion stands in contrast to some other developers, such as Senran producer Kenichiro Takaki, who reportedly resigned from his role at Marvelous last year, partly through frustration at increasing censorship. And this is where I have to actually, and as I got nothing against you, Gavin Lane, But here's where you're wrong. This is a completely different situation. This is like a false equivalence here. Takaki didn't leave Honey Parade. Actually, he may still be part of Honey Parade. He didn't leave Marvelous because his games were being censored in the West. He left Marvelous because Sony was forcing him to censor to Western standards in Japan. This isn't a matter of altering your game for other regions. This was other regions coming into your home country to alter your game. What Takaki resigned over is way worse than censoring localizations. He was right to quit. As stated, Ryza 2 isn't being altered for overseas release, and despite some convenient dust clouds being added to a Sony trailer, they apparently won't appear in the game on any platform, as clarified by publisher Koei Tecmo on Twitter, when it releases in the West at the end of January of current year +1. And we already know they're lying. This same company was confirming for months that the Fairy Tail game won't be censored. And I guess they kept their promise, right? Like you can't accuse them of lying. They released the game uncensored, and then promptly released a day one censorship patch to censor the game. So I will never trust a word these companies say again. Koei Tecmo, GUST, you can assure me all day long your game is not going to be censored. I don't believe you. Last time you did that, you censored the game after release. I'm going to wait 6 months, and if the game is still okay, I'll consider putting it on my wish list so I can get the complete edition on sale like 3 years later for $10 or something. Elsewhere in the interview, Hosoi discusses Ryza's popularity and the potential of further entries in the series, featuring her in the lead role. Be sure to check it out if you're a fan of the Atelier series, and let us know your thoughts below. Not a fan anymore. I was, but now, nah, I'm done. I do not support Cox. I'm fucking done, man. Yeah, I'm not even gonna wait 6 months. I'm just gonna write that series off as a loss. I'm just done with it. I'll probably just go back and play Aisha. That was my favorite one. That's good enough. I'll just replay that one. At least I know that game came out before the fuckery. Gust became Breeze. I know. I fucking know, man. But I really have found that in recent years, my interest in AAA games has pretty much died. Pretty much completely. It's pretty much gone. I have no interest. There's no AAA game on my radar right now. I couldn't care less about any of them. But I still played a few AA games, like the Atelier games. But now that this shit's going on with those games too, my policy right now basically is if your game is on PlayStation and it's exclusive, I'm never going to play it anyway. I don't care what it is. If your game is multi-platform and all the other platforms' versions are the same as the PlayStation version, I assume they've been censored and I don't buy them. And now, the only way you can be multi-platform and I'll still buy your game is if you do like what D3 Publisher did with Omega Labyrinth Life. You release a censored version on PlayStation and you release an uncensored version on PC and Switch. If you want me to buy your game, that's what you're going to have to do. But if it's a multi-platform game and the non-PlayStation versions don't have obviously more content, I'm not going to touch it. Because I'm just going to assume it's all been censored down to Sony's standards. Or better yet, just release on PC and Nintendo and skip everything else, and you'll be fine. So that's pretty much ruled out the vast majority of even Japanese companies, actually. Because I've seen companies like Crapcom and Squeenix. They've been getting more and more of a Western infection lately, and I have no problems writing them off. And after the fucking bullshit of the past few months, I can't even think of a AA game that I have on my radar. And nothing interests me anymore. I could go to DL site right now and I can just look at today's hentai game releases, and I could get more hyped for like any random thing on that list than I do for anything from the mainstream gaming industry right now. I'm pretty much like super niche and indie only at this point. It's funny that all of these games only get censored after they succeed. This is something I rant about all the fucking time. These companies make a niche, uncensored product for a specific target audience, and it turns out the wider audience likes it too. So the wider audience then comes in and starts buying it, and then these fucking idiots running these companies are sitting around going, hey, look, the wider audience is buying our stuff. That means we have to completely destroy everything they like about our product and make it appeal to them. And that's what they do here. People buy these games that were previously uncensored because they like them as they were. And then these companies are like, oh, if we want a global audience, we have to censor them now. And then they're wondering, hey, where did all of our customers and money go? We did this to appeal to the wider audience. Why is the wider audience leaving? It's almost as if the wider audience liked it uncensored. They liked it as it was, huh? But if these companies want to just make it super fucking easy for us to replace them, this is how you do it. This is how you get replaced. This is how you leave an opening for someone else to come in and shake things up. Now, that's what CD Projekt Red did. They went from being a fucking indie to being one of the major AAA publishers by just giving the customers what they want, releasing their shit DRM free, and all these good decisions they made. Now, it's up for debate whether or not even they have eventually fallen to wokeness. We'll see soon enough. But if they have, that just means now the hole that CD Projekt Red filled years ago, now that hole is open again because even CD Projekt Red has fallen for the same shit that destroyed the other AAA publishers.
Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.